welcome to my paint along video of this deer. This is a fun little watercolor sketch to give you an intro to the wonders of watercolor. So first I'm putting in some of that yellow ochre with the grasses just in front of the background behind this deer. And then that will still be wet. And then dropping in some of that reddish color. It's kind of a purpley color you mix with blue and the red you have there on your palette. I'm hoping that you're using a little plastic palette or something, or even a tile that you can mix your colors with. And so this is burnt sienna laid in with this red and blue color. And you see how this is just blending together. It's all going on very lightly to begin with. That's why we call it watercolor. Have a lot of water mixed with the pigment, because this is just the first layer that you're layering in and framing around that deer, the shape of the deer. A good dark of blues and greens all kind of mixed together, and we're just framing that deer. Going around the antlers, and now this is starting to dry, and so the next layer is going on darker. That's how fun watercolor is. You start light, and then the next layer, we call that glazing, goes on darker as it dries. While it's still wet, you want the colors to just kind of blend together. Just being careful to go around those antlers so that the antlers pop out. We want a little tiny bit of highlight around those antlers, and so the background is what will make that pop out, because our deer is the center of interest, obviously. And so just going around the antlers very carefully, dropping in more of that purpley color, letting the blues and greens mix in with that. So this is the first stage of this watercolor painting. It goes pretty quick. And then while that's drying, we'll go back to the background later. You can put as much detail in this as you want, or you can keep it very, very light in the background, so long as you get around that deer shape so that the deer really stands out. It could just be left just like this at this point. But we'll go back and do the background a little bit more too. So what I like to do with that kind of the shadow color is get that bluish cerulean blue. And just drop in some of the shadow colors. And then I'm coming back with the browns and going just over that blue. And that will make the blues a little bit darker when you have the brown over the blue. Just be careful to leave that white around the eye. Not too much detail right here. It looks like there's detail, but just leave the lines to show what the deer's detail is. Don't do too much of the detail with the color around the lines. I like to just soften the edges of the areas that I drop into. Just wipe off your brush and just soften those edges a little bit. And leave a little bit of a highlight from where the grasses are and to where you're painting the body. Just that little tiny edge of light, and so that shows that where the light is coming from. Now while that's drying, I'm going to go back into the antlers, and this is the part where less is more. You don't want a whole lot of detail in those antlers. Leave a little tiny bit of white on the edge, and that helps to show those antlers that they're round. They're dark, they're a dark color, but they also have this little tiny white highlight. But if you're careful with the tip of your brush, you can leave that highlight. While that's drying, go back over it again and make it a little bit darker in those dark areas. Not too much, just suggestions here and there. Coming around. Face and the ears of the deer again, because that's dry. Come back over and go over some of those dark areas to make that stand out. Softening the edges again. A few more darks in the antlers. Now this is the part where I like to go back when the paint is drying on the deer itself. I like to go back and just see what I need to do for the dark areas in the background. The dark areas, coming back in the dark areas, that's what helps the deer stand out, the foreground. And so that's the main objective of the background, is to make the foreground look good. But the background still has it's its own composition, if you will. So think of what the composition is of the background, and just to make the background look interesting too, but not to overdo the background to distract with the foreground. But I really want that stag's face. This is the name of the painting, is the stag. I want his face to really stand out. So I'm doing more darks just around the face and the antlers. And then blend that in with what you've already done underneath that glazing process, so that there's no hard edges. You can still see the trees underneath, so don't go into detail on the trees. The lines will show the trees. It's just those colors that make it stand out. Thanks for watching.